So now I would like to talk to you about another surgery, which is called the biliopancreatic diversion with duodenal switch. So that's a big mouthful of a word again, and you don't have to remember anything like this. If you just want to remember to call it either the duodenal switch or the DS, simply DS. So what that surgery is, that is essentially the same thing that I talked to you in the other video about, the SADI procedure. So we're actually doing the similar thing to the SADI, and then we'll just add one more step. We'll cut the intestines one more time, and we will attach it one more time. So the idea of this surgery is it again to give you a small stomach, because we're doing the sleeve again, so your portions will be small. And then we will also reroute the intestines so that at the end of the surgery you will actually only have between 5 and 10 feet to absorb the food, to take up the calories into the body, into the blood, to take the nutrients into the body and into the blood. And the shorter the distance that you have and the less time that the food has inside your intestines, the less calories you will actually take into your body. And if you don't absorb the calories, if you don't take them into your body, that means you lose weight and you keep the weight off. So this duodenal switch surgery, the DS, is actually the one that has the best weight loss. You will lose the most weight, and you have the highest chance of keeping that weight off for a long time. It is also overall the best to treat diabetes. So for the duodenal switch surgery, I'll explain this to you with this diagram again, and there will also be a video with the actual surgery on our website and on YouTube. So for this surgery, we will start again with making the sleeve stomach, just like we did with the regular sleeve and the SADI procedure. And then, once I've done that, I will also measure backwards from the colon, the last part of the intestines, for about 10 feet. And I will also cut the intestines right behind the stomach in a part called the duodenum, so that you have 1 to 2 inches of duodenum still attached. Then I will move up the small intestine where that 10-foot mark is and attach that area to the duodenum right behind the stomach. So up to this point, this is essentially the SADI surgery. So the final step will be to cut the intestines here at this location one more time with staplers and cut it. And because intestines are mobile, I can move them around, I will now move that part of the intestines and attach it again, now about 5 feet away from the colon. So the final result is that when you eat, your food goes into the small stomach, your portions will be small, then it goes into these first 5 feet of the intestine, and there will be some absorption of your calories, but the main absorption of fat and protein will only happen in the last 5 feet. And the reason is that, as I showed you in other diagrams, is that the juices that digest the food come from this part here, the duodenum. That's also where the bile moves in, that's where the pancreas juices move in, and they move along that long stretch of approximately 10 feet until they kind of get together with the food here in the last 5 feet and that's where you absorb the calories. But that's also where you absorb the nutrients, the good stuff that you'll need. So although this is the best surgery for weight loss and for diabetes and for maintenance, this comes with some side effects. One is the same as with a sleeve. There can be a leak, sometimes reflux. Then we have all these attachments, connections that we make. Every time that's there, there's a possibility it can leak. So there's one more here. And very importantly, there are also low levels in vitamins, low levels in protein, fat. They can happen as well. So that's why it's very important, particularly for this surgery, that a person follows up in our office. The patients come back every 6 months or more often as we ask you to, and talk to us, talk to my assistants, talk to the dietitian. So this is not a surgery where you should kind of disappear. You think, I've had the surgery, now I'm all good for the rest of my life. No, this is something that's an ongoing process. You have to come back and back and back and back. Not often, twice a year, but it's important. It's also important that you take the vitamins that we have in our office, because they're specifically made for particularly this surgery and the SADI. So for the DS and the SADI, you need to come back and get our vitamins in the office. It's not very expensive, but you can't just go to any store and buy them. And the last thing that's a little different to some other surgeries is that because there's only a little bit of area where you absorb food, that means that you have a higher chance of having looser bowel movements. Sometimes 1, 2, 3 looser bowel movements, some bad gas sometimes. It can be addressed. We can give you medications for this, change your eating habits. But if it's really bad, in a very few cases do we have to change with surgery so we can give you a little bit more to absorb and then resolve that issue of diarrhea or bad smelling gas. So overall, this is a surgery that gives you the best, highest weight loss, best long-term results, best for diabetes.